Every video can't be about camera gear that costs more than a car. It isn't practical, but you know what is? These 5 products for anyone who shoots videos for a living or does a whole lot of content for themselves, I guess. First thing on the list, wheels. Wheels for your C-stands, wheels for your light stands, and even wheels for your tripods. Moving things around in an environment where you're constantly repositioning things is incredibly annoying. Once you put wheels on something, you'll want wheels on pretty much everything you own. As an added bonus, it makes lighting moving subjects a lot easier, and toting an off-camera flash setup or LED setup around town is infinitely less cumbersome with one. Next thing, a hot shoe bubble level. If you do any overhead camera work, get these. Keep one in your bag, one in your car, 2 wherever your studio is. Stop me if you've heard this before. Your lights are set up perfectly, overhead looks on point, but then when you pull the files into your editor of choice, you see that it was, in fact, ever so slightly off. And this is even more annoying when you're using a wide lens because the distortion is kind of not centered anymore. Before I knew these things existed, I used to carry around an actual level, and it got the job done, but it's clearly not as easy as just popping this in a hot shoe and going. Of all the products here, this one has the highest value proposition because it solves an unbelievably annoying problem for next to nothing. Next are these compact rolling light stands. C-stands with wheels might not always be an option or necessary depending on what you're using them for. That's when these rolling stands come in handy. Now there is a taller version made by another company. The problem is the center rod isn't stable, but I can recommend this newer model that goes up to 2.4 feet. You can use them for backlighting someone on a wall behind a person, but I use it on these fairly inexpensive RGB tube lights. The setup works almost too well, and these offer a practical vertical mounting solution for tube lights in general. Next are these Cable Creation USB-C PD power cables for 2 reasons. One is that they are very clearly marked as PD cables, so you're not going to accidentally grab a slower cable or something that should have been tossed in the trash a while ago. The second and more important reason is that it has this little voltage readout on the output side which tells you how many watts are currently being drawn by the device that's charging. What can you do with that information? Absolutely nothing. But it is cool, and more importantly, it gives you a visual confirmation that the cable is actually connected and working. Nobody likes plugging something in only to find out that the cable wasn't pushed all the way into the charge port or has been bent one too many times and should have been tossed. Last on my list is a light that isn't as sexy as a lot of the newer ones on the market, but I've been using a pair of these for about 4 years without issue and still haven't been able to find a true replacement for them. I'm talking about the Boling P1 lights, a company that, in my opinion, by the way, needs to market themselves a little better because they have a few very unique lighting solutions and no one ever really hears about them. I know that they were affiliated with Andy Cine at the time when I purchased these back in 2019, but looking at Amazon today, they look like they're a completely independent company, or maybe they're an independent wing, or they split off, or they were sold, I have no idea. Right off the bat, no, there is no app, and no, it's not magnetic, but it is larger and significantly more powerful than most lights in its class. And unique to the Boling P1 is this very comprehensive modifier system that's sold separately, but ultimately allows it to stand out on its own. The kit comes with a mounting frame you can slide the light into and 4 magnetic modifiers to help soften and or direct the light. The add-on kit comes with a diffuser, what they call a softbox, it's really a second diffuser, a 30 and 60 degree honeycomb, and barn doors. There are a variety of uses for a setup like this, but the reason why the premium is worthwhile to me is that the size and weight allow them to be easily transported and mounted to portable light stands to locations where having any other type of lighting would really be either incredibly impractical or very cumbersome to travel with. While it's pretty obvious that this is key for video shooters, for photographers it provides decent fill light or can even light up a subject on its own in the dark. A scenario where using any kind of strobe is simply not ideal because even at their lowest setting, they're typically just too powerful when it's really dark. That's all there is for now, just some very practical recommendations that I personally use on a regular basis. Until next time, keep shooting.